Welcome to the Soulfire Podcast, where healing is raw, truth is sacred, and your story gets to burn and rebuild in the same breath. I'm Power Coach Alishia, pattern breaker, soul mirror, fire starter, and the unapologetic voice of the burn it down and rise anyways revolution. We don't fluff your wounds, we don't filter your truth, and we don't water down healing so that people stay comfortable. You've spent way too damn long proving your worth to people who only love the version of you that stayed small, quiet, and convenient. If you've ever swallowed your truth to keep the peace, shrunk yourself to stay chosen, or disappeared in your life, this season isn't just a reset or another motivational podcast. This is where you reclaim your voice, your fire, and your fucking self. I'll give you the truth that heals, frameworks that hold, and soul codes that will change how you live, lead, love, and rise. Lovey, come forward. It's time for you to embody your wholeness. And I'm not only leading this season, I'm living it right beside you. Let's fucking go. But there's a version of you that has done everything right. You've shown up, you've put in the work, you've followed through more than most people ever will, and still something about it hasn't fully clicked for you. And it hasn't clicked for you in the way that feels good for you. Now, today we're talking about building in your frequency, and this is part of the Sacred Yes series, where you're learning how to actually trust what your soul has been showing you the entire time. And in the last episode, something that's really important about it, we open that truth, right? That your soul has always known that there has been a deeper signal guiding you, even when your life didn't reflect it yet. And this is where that starts getting real, because knowing something and then aligning with it and then building from it are all very different things, okay? Because listen, you can know and still not trust it. Like, for example, let's see, a few days ago, I was having a really hard and heavy day, right? And I knew that I did not have the capacity for anyone, anything, no fucking bullshit, right? And the truth was, what my soul really needed was for someone to actually give to me, because what I was feeling like was everything was on my shoulders. I'm the one that has to make all the decisions. The responsibilities are on me. If it doesn't work out, I've got to find the solution. I've got to fix it. I've got to always make it work, right? And so I was feeling like that and just holding that very, very, very heavily, right? Well, I got on the phone with someone, and this is usually a person that I can talk to and depend on and have soulful conversations with, share how I'm feeling. And this person reads me really well. They know when I'm in a space where I just don't have anything to give and I really need their love and support. And I could tell right off the bat that they didn't want to acknowledge that fully. And they kind of put it on me and said, "Oh, you'll talk to me when you're ready." It's like, why would I have called you back if I didn't want to talk to you? Be here for me. Ask me a question. Tell me that you're here. You know that I am spiraling. You know that I'm about to have a breakdown. Give a fuck, right? But the conversation was very much so centered at the beginning around what this person wanted to share, what the reason why they wanted to have the phone call in the first place, because they called me. I missed the call. I called them back. And it was very centered around that. And it was pretty clear that they weren't going to even acknowledge the fact that I was struggling and really needed someone, right? I don't expect people to read my mind. I also am very guarded, and I get irritated really fast with the people in my quality world when they pretend like they don't see how I'm feeling, or they acknowledge that they see it, but they avoid it by saying something like, "Oh, well, you'll talk to me when you're ready." Why not just say, "What's going on?" Or, "Man, you sound really sad. Are you okay?" "Uh-oh. This is what you sound like when you're on the verge of a breakdown. What's up?" What the fuck? Be here. Now, if there's somebody that wouldn't know that or whatever, that's a whole different story, right? And so what's my point in me telling you this around this, you can know and still not trust it? It's I knew that that person didn't actually care about holding me because of the way that they were dancing through the conversation, the way that they were really positioning what they wanted to talk about while kind of pushing how I was feeling, how they knew I was feeling, and what they knew I needed aside, right? Now, this is someone that there's no way they didn't know what I needed, okay? And so I stayed in the conversation, doing my best to like hang in there and really acknowledge like what they were sharing and what they were saying. And it was just making me feel worse, right? And what I did know is one, that I shouldn't have called them in the first place. I could just, I don't know, something, or called them back in the first place. Something said, don't call them back, right? And I didn't trust it. That was the first knowing that I didn't trust. Then I got on the phone and I could feel that I wasn't going to be held and that how I was actually feeling didn't matter. Why? Because it wasn't actually acknowledged. It was kind of acknowledged in this way of, like I said, well, you'll tell me when you're ready. And that is something that you would say to somebody if you asked them if they were okay, or if you asked them what was up, or if you asked them like why they sound down and then they didn't want to tell you, right? That's the response that you give to them if they're being standoffish about it, right? But there was never any question. It was automatically just pushing it aside. And my soul knew that that wasn't good for me. And I didn't honor that in that moment. It's not, I don't, for me, I wouldn't say that I wasn't trusting it, because I did trust it. And you're going to find out how I trusted it. I just wasn't honoring it. Right. And so, um, there was something really rude and not true that was said. And there was a point in the conversation where this person started going on and on and on about their financial situation. And I just point blankly said, I don't care. Like, I don't care. I don't have the capacity to hold this right now. And what I was told was, I know you don't care. You don't care about, I know you don't care about other people's problems. Right? Like, that's what I fucking do for a living. But you're right. I don't care about other people's problems. Like, it was such a fucked up thing to say when I've spent my whole life. Well, I spent like, I don't know, from the time that I was 10 years old to probably 38 years old, 39, maybe even 40, carrying everybody's shit, carrying their problems, caring about their problems, helping them, being there for them, sacrificing myself for them, just to help put them back together and their lives back together. But, I don't care about people's problems. And that's what I was told. Secondarily, I have heard this same exact financial story, the same exact issues, the same exact financial changes about 6 times. I don't care anymore. I don't want to hear it anymore. I've heard it so many times. And right now, I don't have the capacity to listen to this. And you would know that if you asked me and you cared about how I'm feeling, because one of the reasons I was feeling the way that I was feeling was holding all the weight of my financials for my business, the financials for our landscaping company, the financials for the household, the financials to go on trips, the financials to fix vehicles, the financials to buy vehicles, the financials for birthdays, the financials for holidays, the financials for anniversaries. It's like one of the reasons why I was feeling that way is because I'm holding all of this with financials, and now I've got to listen to you say the same fucking thing that you've said 6 times, which I never said any of that, right? I just said, I don't care right now. Like, I don't care. And kept going, you know what? I really don't care. I don't have the capacity to hold this. And then the statement of, yeah, I know you don't care about other people's problems. And I said, you know what? Actually, I do care about other people's problems. It's just that right now I don't have the capacity or the energy. And then I cut myself off and I said, you know what? I told the person that I love them and I said, I gotta go. And I hung up the phone. I'll talk to you later. And I hung up the phone. So there's a version of you that knows exactly what feels right. You feel it in your body, right? And you recognize it when it shows up, and you can even see it clearly for other people. And then sometimes when it comes times to choose, right, then something will shift. Like you hesitate, you question, you override. And I did 2 overrides before I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Honor yourself, make the decision, get the fuck off this phone, right? And, the ending of that story at the time that I'm recording this is I ended the phone call, and then about 7 hours later, I sent a message that exercised a boundary. And I made it very clear that, I felt like what was said to me was unfair. This is what, I was I didn't even tell them what I was holding. I just said, I just didn't have the capacity, I didn't have the energy, and the way that you treated me wasn't right. Like, I didn't need you to beat me up. Like, you could have said nothing whatsoever or said something in support, right? And then there was radio silence for a day and a half. And again, this is not the nature of our relationship. This is not the nature of our connection, right? So this isn't me having unfair expectations or whatever. This is this person really basically acting like a complete asshole, and they normally don't treat me like this. This is this person acting like they don't really give a fuck that I was about to have a breakdown, and instead just kind of kicked me over the edge, and then I ended up sobbing at my computer for over an hour. And so they basically kicked me into the breakdown. And normally that never happens. So this is usually a place where I'm safe. This is usually a place where my feelings matter, right? And someone might say, "Oh, well, they had an off day and da da da." I don't make excuses for people. That's not how I roll. And I know somebody might say, "Well, that's not excuses. That's maybe just understanding that they've got stuff going on in their life." Not my job. It's not my job to assume that someone is a complete asshole or a bully to me because they've got something going on in their life. One. And two, that's not okay. That doesn't give someone a pass or a reason to treat you like that, right? Like, I'm done listening to their fucking financial story of being the same thing. I'm telling you, I've heard it like 6 times, the exact same thing. It hasn't changed. It's not new, and nothing new came up. It wasn't that. It was like literally the exact same story. And it was okay for me to say that I don't care about that right now. Like, I don't have that to hold, right? Like, I'm always there, I'm always holding, but this person knew I didn't have it to hold. They know me well enough to know that. And instead they chose to be an asshole to me, right? And so I overrode it a couple times and then made that decision for myself. And then, I exercised the boundary, and I decided to leave the ball in their court. But then, a day and a half later, there's still no response. Again, this is not a normal way that this person would act with me. But then, I did call, and then of course they were busy and that they'll call me back and whatever. So I did call today, right? And the call was basically like to say, "What the fuck? This isn't how we operate. This isn't how we roll. Like, you could have told me to fuck off. You could have told me you were sorry. You could have defended yourself. You could say, I understand. You could have just said, I love you. You could have said, thank you for bringing that to my attention." Like, and it's fine. Maybe they needed time to, figure out what they wanted to say. But this isn't someone who just shuts off communication. If anything, this is someone who will come at you with more communication rather than shutting it off. And so I think that it was just a complete bully move. I think that they're a complete asshole for the way that they treated me. I doubt they'll listen to this podcast episode, but if they do, they're going to know exactly who they are and what they did, because it was completely fucked up, right? Like, I go through my life carrying people through anything that they're going through. Reminding you, I listened to this financial thing. It's been 6 times in conversations, right? Like, I listen, I'm there. The reason why they were calling me, what they wanted to share with me, is because of all the help and the effort and the patience and the time and the energy and the attention that I have given this person in their business, in their life, what they're doing, what they're building, how they're doing it, everything. Yet you're going to say that while you just called me because I'm the one that helped you get there? I understand what happened, though, right? I didn't meet them in their excitement that they wanted to share because I didn't have it to hold. And instead of being adult about it and understanding that I didn't have that to hold, they acted like a fucking child, right? Because I didn't respond with the same level of excitement about what they were sharing that they wanted me to have. And so there was this expectation, but this person knows that if I'm collapsing, I won't meet anything in fakeness. That's just not who the fuck I am. Right. And so what happens when you know something and you still not trust it, you end up in this spot where you're no longer building from a knowing and you're building from what feels safer. And so if you're building from what feels safer, it can really fuck it up. So I really do hope that that story gave you some understanding in what overriding could look like, or when you know something and still not trust it, right? There's no completeness with it and it isn't finished, but I do think that it demonstrates exactly what we're talking about here. And there's this gap between knowing and then choosing. And that's where everything breaks, right? So you know, and then you choose. But what you choose could fuck everything up, or it can actually empower you, because that gap is where the pattern lives. Okay. When your knowing says this is it, but your decision says, well, let me just wait, let me just adjust, let me just make sure, then you instantly split your energy. That's exactly what I did with that phone call. And then that split creates inconsistency and second guessing and overcorrection, or maybe even overreaction, or making you feel like you abandoned yourself, right? And it's coming from the fact that you don't fully trust what you know yet, or you do trust it, but in the moment, you went against it. And your frequency is built through decisions. Okay. So it's one thing to have an intention and what you want to do and how you want to show up and how you want to operate in your rhythm and your flow and your calibration and your alignment. All that happens through decision, though. Okay. You don't think your way into it. You move your way into it. It's something you choose your way into. And so every decision you make is either anchoring in your truth or it's reinforcing your doubt, right? And so when we say choosing your way into, a lot of times you're operating in, through life like everything outside of you is making the choices, is deciding for you. And it's not true. You are making choices every step of the way that you're not acknowledging, because you would rather say that life, the kids, the partner, the work, the business, the friends, the family, the everything is what's driving you. No, you're choosing every step of the way through there. And if you want things to feel different, if you want things to shift, if you want to feel better and in more alignment, then you get to choose differently. So when your decisions are coming from a fear of being wrong or wasting time or missing something or obligation to return a phone call, right? Then your entire business is built on that frequency. Said differently, better and more powerfully, is your entire life is built on that frequency. The way you operate in your mind, body, and soul, the way you operate with your wealth, and whether it's a business or a career, right? The way you are in all of your relationships, especially your love relationships and your relationship with your children, it's all built on that frequency. Even if the action that you're taking, the way you're moving, even if all of that looks right and feels right, if it's built on that frequency, it's going to fuck it up, right? And this is exactly what your birth chart shows you. It shows you where you've been overriding your own knowing, where your natural rhythm actually lives, and how your decisions are meant to be made when you're fully aligned, right? So inside of the personalized birth chart soul and wealth course, I map this all out specifically for you. It's built specially for you. It takes me over 2 hours to create, because I create 4 audios for you. And the first one is your soul architecture. Then the next one is your healing patterns. The next one goes into your wealth blueprint. And then we pull it all together into a 90-day simple, effective alignment plan that you can implement. So check out the link in the show notes. It's going to take you over to the Queendom. Join at the VIP level and you get the birth chart soul wealth course. But also, if maybe that's not something you can swing right now, join at the premium level and you get access to so many things to help you take this work deeper. So the reason why nothing feels like it sticks is because your decisions don't match what you know. And when your decisions don't match what you know, nothing stabilizes. So you start something, but then your energy isn't fully behind it, right? So then you stop it. Or you commit to something, but you're still questioning it. So then you actually don't follow through on that commitment. You move, but you're already preparing for your next pivot and what you're going to do instead. So it doesn't get to take hold and you don't get that result. Right? And so you start feeling like it's all falling apart and nothing ever works for you. When it rains, it pours, the other shoe's going to fall, like, whatever, all those statements. The thing is it was never fully anchored. And that's why it's like that. So your natural rhythm requires you to trust yourself fully for it to exist. Okay. So your rhythm, it sounds like you would create your rhythm, right? Like, oh, I create this. Actually, you allow it and you tap into it. The thing is, though, it only shows up when your decisions are clean, when your direction is clear, and when your energy is focused, right? That's when your work feels better, your movement feels consistent, your direction stays, forward movement to where you want to go. Your relationships grow and they prosper. Your connection with your children feels more amazing than it ever has before. That's when all those things start locking in because you're choosing, right? You're choosing how you move. You're choosing how you respond, and you're letting go of reacting, right? And so this is where your business starts responding to this frequency and this vibration. And what you've done is because when you're knowing and your decisions finally match, then that shifts it all, right? Your messaging sharpens, your offers feel cleaner, your energy becomes felt from your soulmate clients. And then instead of people just hearing you, they feel certainty in you and with you and what you're teaching. And that's when things start landing differently and clients respond differently and money moves differently with you, plus compounds and grows because now you're matching that vibrational frequency. And instead of building from effort, you're building from your soul's truth, your soul's rhythm, your soul's alignment, and your soul's flow. And that is the power of building in your frequency. So building in your frequency is trusting yourself, moving from that trust, moving from that knowing, and it will shift everything else around you from your mind, body, and soul, your relationships, and your money. So if this landed for you, then we want you inside of the Queendom, because this is where we actually do this work, the soul work, the wealth work, the relationship work, all of it. And the link is in the show notes. We're here waiting to welcome you home. It's fucking phenomenal in there. The very first thing that you're going to get access to is a 30-day soul, wealth, and relationship reset, so that you can reset the patterns that keep you in the same loops and the cycles and start moving towards the direction of where you want to go in your soul, with your wealth, and in your relationships. So definitely click the link in the show notes and join the Queendom. At any level, you're getting access to that 30-day soul, wealth, and relationship reset. Now declare this: I trust what I know and I build from it fully. I trust what I know and I build from that place fully. I trust what I know and I build from that place fully. And remember, you are worth it. You are always worth it. And the world needs who you were made to be. So show up every single fucking day as the badass you are and slay. I'm Power Coach Alishia, and we'll see you next time. Oh my gosh, Queen, thank you so much for being here, because we're all in this together through this journey called life. And if something landed for you today, if something moved inside of you in this episode and you felt that fire light the fuck up in you, then your next step is to step forward for yourself into the Queendom, because this is where we do this work together live every single month. The soul work, the healing, the wealth blueprint, all tied to your birth chart and your soul's design. So just click the link in the show notes to start your free 7-day trial and know that this castle was built for you. We will see you inside.